Hello, and thank you so much for joining us here at the First Alert Desk for another weekly installment of our Behind the Investigation. I'm joined here by investigative reporter Rachel Polansky. We have somewhat of a theme this week. So you did an investigation about something that I actually didn't even know about myself until I watched your story. Tell me about it.
So this is kind of a fun investigation, which I normally don't say those two words together, but you know, with Halloween coming up, we decided to look into haunted houses. So personally, I love haunted houses. Maria, not so much.
I am not into jump scares, and I think haunted houses are purely jump scare like centers.
So I will say this specific haunted house we went to, Containment Haunted House in Lithia Springs, they build it around a storyline, which I thought was really interesting, and it was kind of fun. I went on a Friday night to get some footage, and at the beginning of you know, before people go inside to be scared, there's a little theater and they have a little storyline, and so each year it changes, and so this year he was telling me it's about the awakening of the underworld, and so as you're going through it, it is jumpy and people jumping out at you, but there is a theme. It's not just, you know, chainsaws and what have you. But I personally love haunted houses. My husband hates them, so we don't go often. I remember that when we first started dating, I was able to get him to go more, but now, you know, we're married, so
he gets to hold his ground.
Yeah, right.
Well, we want to show you this full investigation because it comes with a very important lesson, especially as we count down to Halloween.
Yes.
So let's take a look at that.
And then we'll unpack it afterwards.
We are going to unpack it, and we want you to be part of this conversation. So make sure you comment below. We're going to be checking through your comments and talking a little bit about Halloween and this story around haunted houses. Let's take a look.
Yep.
At Containment Haunted House in Lithia Springs, the spooky storyline changes each year.
Where are you going? The spirits of the underworld have awakened and found a way to open the veil up to drag the living into the afterlife.
The safety protocol stays the same.
All of our staff is trained as far as if something happens, where the nearest emergency exit is, to get everybody out safely.
And while it may look like a creepy old warehouse, containment is up to date and meets fire code requirements.
We'll make sure that exits are good, electrical cords, fire extinguishers, make sure that they're sprinkled if they need to be sprinkled.
The Douglas County Fire Department performed a safety check before containment opened its doors for the season, inspecting suppression systems, electricals, and exit markings. It's something that every haunted house in Georgia is supposed to do. And if they fail, they cannot open until they're re-inspected. Guilty! And given the green light from their local fire department.
Safety-wise, we check everything.
These safeguards are not unwarranted. In the 1980s, a haunted castle attraction at a New Jersey Six Flags caught fire, killing 8 teenagers trapped inside, who were unable to make their way through the convoluted 450-foot-long path to the exit. While the haunted castle included emergency lighting, there were no smoke alarm or sprinkler systems. The tragedy prompted several changes to the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA safety code, including the addition of a new section titled Provisions for Special Amusement Buildings. 40 years later, these regulations have been adopted by every state in the country, and some municipalities like Douglas County take it a step further, requiring the 3 haunted houses in their area to keep a firefighter on site every night they're open.
If they smell anything, if they see anything, they immediately stop everything, tell everybody to get out, they call 911.
Hey, you ain't got to worry about me, you sure?
And haunted houses like Containment welcome the extra set of eyes.
There's nights where we run thousands of people, but you want to make sure that every single one of them comes through safely and goes home safely. We want to simulate scare, we want to simulate fear, but we don't want to have actual fear. You're in my way.
Ensuring the only frights are the planned ones.
All right, before you send your kids down any dark hallways, here are the big takeaways. Only go to haunted houses that have their permits, because this means they'll be equipped with smoke detectors, fire alarms, and clearly marked exits. And if you have any questions before your visit, call your local fire department. Rachel Polansky, Atlanta News First.
All right, so Max on our Facebook said he does like haunted houses. And Max, I want to know what you like about them, because I always come out frustrated or sad because I don't like being scared. But clearly for some people it's
Yeah.
fun. I wanted to talk about this story on a more serious note.
Yeah.
It's oftentimes, it takes a tragedy for change to come about, and
Right.
that's exactly what happened in this case.
Yes, that is exactly what happened here. You know, we talked about that haunted house castle tragedy in New Jersey, and it was after that that the National Fire Protection Association came out with that safety code, and then different states, and then within different states, different municipalities and counties have kind of done their own thing, but there is a standard across the board, which, you know, we just talked about there. But it is important to make sure you know where exit signs are, that there are sprinkler systems in place, that the place is permitted. You know, you hear sometimes about these pop-up haunted houses, like in someone's backyard, which might sound fun or spooky, but you know, you do want to think twice. And I really thought it was interesting that in most municipalities, the county fire department works with the haunted house in that jurisdiction. So you don't have to trust the haunted house,
Right.
you know, and just say, are you permitted? They say yes, and that's it. You can actually call your local fire department and say, hey, how many haunted houses in our area have permits? Does this one have a permit? And they are very accessible and, you know, happy to talk to people about this. When I reached out to Douglas County Fire, they were really excited because they were like, oh, we have so much to talk about on this, and nobody comes to us about it. So it is one of those things that I think people don't really think about, but especially if you're a parent and your kids are going to haunted houses and you want to make sure they're going someplace safe and not at a pop-up in someone's backyard, you know, just you can do your due diligence, do a little research, make a couple of calls. At the very least, just tell your kid to look around, make sure they know where the exits are. Because you don't want it is designed to be disorienting, and it's
Right.
designed to be confusing, so you want to know your way out should you have to get out.
Absolutely, and we just want to clarify, you know, you shouldn't call 911
Right.
if you're just asking for permit information and to make sure that a haunted house is safe. But the fire department has a non-emergency
Yes,
line,
right.
and as you said, they would be more than happy to
Right,
make
right.
that clarification and give you some peace of mind as you send your child in. Another thing, you know, we talk about little kids, a lot of them making the goal of getting scared on Halloween with their friends is like this accomplishment, and it's a fun one to have. But when they see a situation like fire or smoke or something concerning, it might not raise alarms in them that it's not a part of the act.
Right, exactly. And that's why I thought it was really cool that some municipalities have taken it a step further, like Douglas County, and they have someone with the fire department there. Anytime they're open at Containment Haunted House, there is someone with the fire department on standby, just in case something happens. And I think that's really, you know, reassuring. So again, I would even ask the haunted houses that, do you have somebody on standby just in case something goes wrong? Because a lot of these places do, and they want to be safe too. You know, I think he said it really well when he said, you know, we want to simulate fright, we don't
Right.
want actual fright. So everybody wants to have a good time, be scared, but you know, you don't want something bad to happen.
And as you're doing this investigation, I'm sure you have a lot of other projects that you're also focusing on. Any updates from some recent ones that we've covered?
Yeah, we can touch on the Rockdale County Sheriff's deputy, who's, you know, he was a canine handler. Folks who are watching might remember he had 3 personal dogs that he left in a hot shed.
Right.
And all 3 died. We broke that story maybe a month ago. After that, we got a lot of complaints and emails from people saying, you know, this deputy needs to be charged or arrested or at least fired. So we did another report. Since then, the National Animal Rights Group, PETA, has gotten involved. They have since sent a letter to the Rockdale County DA urging her to take action. And Lala Kent, the reality star, who shares the same name as one of the dogs that passed, has also now gotten involved and shared this on her Instagram. And she sent a letter to the Rockdale County DA urging her to take action. So this story has gotten a lot of people angry, and people want to see something happen here. As I mentioned in the first story, they closed the case, so there weren't any charges. And these people don't like that. So there might be some more updates coming on that story.
And of course, you went into great detail from both sides on this story. That's on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. I think that's an important part of what you do, is you do these investigations, but the story doesn't get lost after that. You stay up to date and provide updates, and you bring that really full circle and follow the story as it develops.
Right, absolutely. I don't really like a story that's only one and done. I like for there to be follow up, and I want people to reach out. Even, the story I did a couple weeks ago on improper recruiting at the high school level, after I did that story, I've gotten a few parents that have come forward and said, look into improper recruiting at this high school or at that one. So that story too, I want to keep going. I don't really like these one-offs. I'd rather dig into it and see what else we can find, and then ultimately find some solutions.
And that doesn't happen unless we hear about it from you. So let us know the stories that are affecting your community that you personally may have experienced, and where can they reach you if they do want to connect with you on a possible investigation?
Yeah, so you can reach me on any of the social media platforms, Rachel Polansky. My email is rachel.polansky@wanf.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and all of the platforms, so very easily accessible, and I do want to hear from you.
And she does respond. I tested her.
That's true.
We wish you guys a very happy and safe Halloween. Keep in mind, we don't want to discourage you from going to these haunted houses, although I personally will not be attending any haunted houses.
Go to the haunted houses.
Go to the haunted houses. Have fun. Ask your fire department about those permits.
Yeah.
You never know the benefit that could have for your peace of mind, and just before you send your kid off to have their Halloween fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you.